All right, guys, so now we're going to start to work on the basically smartphone version of the website. So let's start off with the nav bar because that doesn't look too good. So in our mobile.css, I'm going to add a media query. So this is for smartphones. So let's say at media, and we'll say max width of 500 pixels. And let's see, so we're going to target the nav bar first, right? So it has an ID of nav bar. And I'm going to actually keep the flex, but I'm going to change the direction because we have it as a row, which is horizontal. Let's change it to column. So once I save that, now you can see that it's going this way instead of horizontal. And I'm also going to add the align dash items to the center and save, and it already starts to look pretty good. Now the logo, I'm going to add some margin bottom. I'm also going to make sure I text align it to the center. So let's say nav bar. Let's target the logo, and let's do margin bottom, and we're going to do 0.5 rem, and let's do text align center, and save that. Did that push it down? Yeah, it did, right? Yeah. Let's move it a little more. So we'll do 7.5. Actually, that doesn't seem to be moving, does it? Nav bar logo. Display none. So we are targeting it. Okay, so I guess we'll just move it down a little more. Let's do 1 rem. Okay. So let's see, for the UL, I have padding. Actually, the UL I think is, we'll add some padding to it. So let's say navbar UL padding 0.5 rem. Oh, that's why I had it, because of that padding. So let's change this back to 0.5. There we go. Okay, next thing, if we go down here, notice that we now have this space. That's because the nav bar, the height has now grown. And what we had before in our style sheet, if we look at the showcase, let's go up to showcase content, we had top 65 because that basically made up for the nav bar, but now the nav bar is bigger. So let's do, we're going to go and say showcase content. Actually, let's prefix this with ID showcase. And instead of 65, let's say top 110 pixels, and save. And now if we go down, you can see that there's no more space here, so that covers it. And if we make this bigger into the regular size, it's fine. So as soon as we hit 500 pixels, it goes into this menu here. All right, so let's see what else we have to do here. So that looks good. And we'll test the devices after. This here, this who area, I want to get rid of the image. And actually, we're going to remove the flex from the who ID, because right now this is a flex box and these two are flex items. Since we're removing this image here, there's no need for flex. So let's say who, and we'll say display block. And if I save that, the image is going to go away, because now, since the image isn't part of Flexbox, it would need a height to display, but I don't even want to display it at all, so I'm just going to say who, and then we're going to take the class of who-img, which the image is wrapped in, and we're simply going to say display none. Okay, so we'll save that. All right, so that looks pretty good. Next thing is the clients. So, I mean, we could leave it like this, but the images are really small. So what I'd like to do is, first of all, increase the width. So I'm going to say clients dot items and grab the images themselves, and we have 60% by default in style CSS. Let's change it to 80 and save it. But I want to remove the last one. So what we can do is say clients items and grab the div, but we want the last child. We're going to use the pseudo selector last child and say display none. So if you watch the last logo, when I save this, it goes away, and I think that looks a little better. They're bigger and there's less of them, and we didn't even have to mess with the markup to get rid of the logo. Let's see, now the contact, we also want to remove the flex because we want these to stack. We don't want them to align. So let's say contact, and actually, you know what we could try? When I initially did this, I did display block, but let's try flex direction, and let's do column instead and see what that looks like. Okay. Now the reason we can't see the map anymore is because since it's no longer basically attached to the form horizontally, we need to add a height. So let's say contact map, excuse me, and let's say height 200 pixels and save. And now if we go down, we can see the map. And I also want to just have a little border, like a black border right here. So on the map, let's say border top, and you can see you can style it however you want on different screens. I'm going to do 4 pixels solid and 333, save, and now we have, whoops, where is it? Pixels, not PS. And now we have this border right here, which is pretty cool. So let's, yeah, so once we hit 500, it turns into that. All right, good. Let's see. Now the showcase content looks good in a browser, but let's actually do the real test and look at it on the device. So we're going to open up our Chrome tools and check out the device. Okay, so this is an iPhone X, and I think that looks pretty good. Yep, everything seems cool. So let's check the iPhone 6, 7, 8 Plus. Looks good. Let's try 6, 7, 8. Good. And let's see, Galaxy. Well, we could move the showcase content up a little bit. Yeah, why don't we do that? So let's see, do we have showcase content here? No. Yeah, right here. So showcase content, we did top 110 pixels. Let's do a margin dash top, but let's do a negative value. And this, what this will do is it'll suck the content up. So notice that right now on the Galaxy, the read more is kind of, it's not in the you know, the viewport when you first enter. I mean, you can simply scroll down and it's fine, but I'd like to just move this up a little bit. So I'm going to do negative, let's do -2 rem and save. And now this is actually in the, you know, above the fold is what they say. And then even if we go on like an iPhone X, it's still fine. It's just up a little more. That looks good. And let's try the iPhone 5. Okay, so if we want it to look good on the iPhone 5, which has a very short height, what we could do is lessen the font size of the L heading. But I'm only, you know what, I'm only going to do that if the height is 568 or less, right? Because this has a height of 568, the iPhone 5. The 6 is 667. Everything else is larger than that. So what I'll do is I'll put an extra media query down here. And I'm going to say max height of 568 pixels. And let's take the showcase. Actually, let me see that again. No, actually, we don't need to do the showcase content. That's fine. Let's take the L heading. And the original font size, I believe, is 4 rem. So let's say font size, and let's set it to 3 rem. And let's take the lead. The paragraph has a class of lead. We're going to change that font size to 1 rem, which I believe is 1.5 by default. And there we go, it fits. So we're targeting 568 height or smaller, and then we're lessening the font size. But if we go back to like the iPhone X, then the font size is normal. Actually, we have this here, though. Why is that? That shouldn't be there. Because we put the top 110 pixels. Oh, is it because of the margin top? Let me get rid of that. Yes, it is. It's because, okay, so you know what we'll do is we'll only do the margin top negative on heights that are 568 or less. So showcase content, paste that in. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go back to the iPhone 5. Well, I guess we still have that problem. So what we'd have to do is add to the top value. So we have top 110. So let's do top, let's try 130. And no. Showcase. That could be why, actually. 130 doesn't seem to be enough. Let's do 140. There we go. Okay, so the iPhone 5 isn't really important, at least for me, but it's good to at least have it look decent on older devices. Okay, so that's going to be it for this project, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you learned quite a bit from it. If you run into any little bugs or things that aren't displaying quite right on certain devices, maybe you have some different kind of Android phone and something doesn't look right, then feel free to just tweak it. Go in, change some of the values of some of the properties. This website obviously isn't like a production website that's been fully tested and up and running for a while. This is something I built for the course, so you might run into a couple things here and there, not just with this project, but with any of the projects. But yeah, that's it. You can use this website as kind of a boilerplate or template for other sites. You just change the background image, change the colors, all that stuff. But that's going to be it, guys. In the next section, what I want to do is start to look at website deployment, because up to this point we've only been building on our local machine. So I want to show you how to, in probably the simplest way possible, to upload a website to a shared hosting account.